Hi there, swarmers. Welcome back to the Hive. It's great to have you here with us. But if this is your first time here, you might not yet have subscribed. And you can fix that right now with this little button right here. Today, we're going to discuss the growing movement of civil disobedience being used to convey the urgency of climate action and climate justice, as well as the dissatisfaction with the current so-called actions. And we'll let you know who and how you can join. Some years ago, it was identified that adults in America sit within one of 6 groups relating to their stance on climate change. There are alarmed, concerned, cautious, disengaged, doubtful and dismissive. The alarmed group has grown from 18% in 2017 to 33% in 2021. 10% of this group would definitely, and 18% would probably, personally engage in non-violent civil disobedience against corporate or government activities that negatively impact the climate, if they were asked to by a person they liked and respected. That, beautiful swarmers, is you. That 10% of alarmed who are definitely willing to engage in non-violent civil disobedience represents approximately 8.6 million American adults. Can you imagine what would happen if 8.6 million extra people took to the streets, held a placard, or chained themselves to Chase Bank? Yeah, pretty fast political change. So we'd love you to use your power of influence in the best of ways and then take it to the streets. Let's look at some people who are already doing this. The scientists who've been researching and writing about climate change for decades are finally fed up with giving us the data only to have us ignore it. So now a growing group of scientists are taking it to the streets in actions of non-violent civil disobedience. They've formed Scientist Rebellion, or SR, which works within the framework of Extinction Rebellion, known as XR. The majority of their members are scientists or academics from a wide variety of scientific backgrounds from all over the world. The group was formed in September 2020, and they've already got some widely publicised dramatic and illegal operations under their belt. During the much-sledged COP26 in November 2021, the group really upped the ante. They pasted enormous scientific papers onto buildings, but in a far more visible and disruptive protest, they padlocked and chained themselves together to block a busy bridge. They held many teach-ins to bust myths of so-called solutions to the climate crisis, for example explaining that planting trees and capturing carbon will not actually be enough to save us at this point. They threw green paint onto the walls of Scottish Power to symbolise the company's greenwashing. They glued themselves to the walls and floors of that same building. And one man took a boat down the river with a Tell the Truth banner. From the blocked bridge, the glued hands, the unlawful boat ride, there were dozens of arrests. These people who we look to for all manner of scientific facts to help navigate the future are then handcuffed and thrown into a cell for talking about those facts. The biggest act to date from Scientist Rebellion was a global action in April 2022, this time attracting more than 1,200 scientists and academics from over 30 countries. All acts of civil disobedience were non-violent and no harm came to anyone, but there were plenty of police present at all sites and dozens of arrests once more, including that of Dr. Peter Kalmus, renowned climate scientist and passionate climate action communicator. The co-founder of Scientist Rebellion is Dr. Tim Hewlett, and he's not minced words about the reason for SR coming into being. Essentially, he cites the last 30 years of IPCC work as a, quote, unmitigated failure, end quote, of scientists to do effectively anything about the existential crisis which is torpedoing towards us. Everything the scientific community has been doing, research, report, rinse and repeat, has been consistently falling on deaf ears. So he took it upon himself to rally a group of increasingly frustrated peers to put their bodies on the line and participate in civil disobedience. One of the slogans of SR is "Inaction is denial," to highlight that it's not enough to say something is true if you don't act like it's true. These highly educated and intelligent individuals understand that if their words are to be taken seriously, they must act as if the situation is serious and thereby participate in some pretty serious disobedience. Although for some in the academic world there is fear of retribution and loss of their position, others, like Charlie Gardner, a conservation biologist, outspoken member of SR, and someone familiar with activism for over 30 years, simply believe that there are, quote, no professorships on a dead planet, end quote. Dr. Hewlett believes that being an activist is to live ethically and do what you can. And that, for the scientific community, is to stop writing about the impending doom and start screaming about it from the rooftops, defacing buildings to highlight contradictions and disrupt normal life. Scientist Rebellion ensures that there's no central leader required to get an action off the ground and allows willing participants to be connected with each other to arrange local actions. The SR website contains a myriad of useful resources for arranging and then carrying out an action, like how to mix and then effectively throw paint, how to mix paste for plastering walls with scientific documents, some examples of those scientific documents which would look great 20 times normal size and then glued onto walls, educational talking points for running teach-ins. They support any and all non-violent action unequivocally. It's important to understand that this movement is not about making friends. People will be disrupted and offended, but if they weren't, it wouldn't be making for a very strong, memorable message. Hewlett, in a recent podcast interview, highlighted that disruption that you might experience from their blocking of a bridge pales in comparison to how your life and your children's lives will be turned upside down as we plummet deeper into the climate crisis. We only need to look to the history books to understand that large-scale, meaningful societal change has been brought about when millions of people take non-violent, persistent, antisocial action. It's this type of coordinated resistance which has changed and inarguably improved how society functions. We can and must do this again. We recommend that you take a look at Scientist Rebellion website, follow them on the socials and join them when they take action in your local area. If you know any academics in any field, encourage them to get involved with the director actions and sign the SR demands letter. And we passionately recommend getting involved with any and all of the action groups, international and local. We're going to provide links to a whole host of them below, and they include Fridays for Future, 350.org, Extinction Rebellion, the Sunrise Movement, the Climate Action Network, School Strike for Climate, the Climate Justice Alliance, Citizens Climate Lobby, and Just Stop Oil. The best time to act to mitigate the impacts of the climate crisis was 30 years ago. The second best time is now. We thank you, Swarmers, for all that you do in your lives to increase your understanding of climate-related issues and take action to live more sustainably. We appreciate you, and so does our beautiful planet. Stay safe, everyone, and keep doing your best. We'll see you next time.